over 55 years, your source for agribusiness news and features from around the Southeast and across the country, focusing on one of the nation's top industries, agriculture. The Farm Monitor is produced by the Georgia Farm Bureau in association with Abraham Baldwin Agricultural College.
All right, still going strong since 1966, well before Jennifer and I were born. Just wanted to point that out. That said, welcome to the show. Glad to have you with us.
Yes, always happy to see your smiling faces, and hopefully you'll still be smiling after you see what we have in store for you. Straight ahead on the program, after years of uncertainty, dairy producers are finally seeing signs of stability. But with trade tensions, avian flu concerns, and weather impacts, is the rebound here to stay? After a devastating barn fire, these livestock exhibitors are proving that passion and resilience can overcome any setback. John Holcomb with the story on how they've made an inspiring comeback.
And then later, preserving history while embracing the future. For over 200 years, J&J Farms has stood the test of time, and now a new generation is carrying on the legacy. We'll take you to Jefferson, where hard work and special bonds keep the Centennial Farm thriving. All this and so much more right now on the Farm Monitor.
After seeing prices bounce back in 2025, there is plenty of optimism for dairymen here in Georgia heading into the new year. But as Damon Jones reports, that doesn't mean there aren't a number of issues they will be keeping a close watch on.
It's been quite the roller coaster for dairy producers over the past few years, as fluctuating prices and input costs have resulted in quite a bit of uncertainty. However, things are currently trending upward after a promising 2024.
In 2022, you had some supply and demand. You had increased demand for milk. There's not the supply to go with it. Prices went up. But like with everything else, with inflation, those input costs skyrocketed with it. So you didn't really have a margin. You just had higher prices for everything. Supply and demand will reverse itself. You get enough supply, demand goes back down, price goes back down, but those input costs didn't come with it. And so 23, you saw the margin shrink or disappear completely. 24, you finally had those feed costs, labor, fuel, some of these things the farmers really can't control come back down to where the milk price was, and demand has been relatively stable.
With nearly 20% of all U.S. milk products being exported, a recent trade war with Canada and Mexico is a point of concern, as it has the potential to reduce that demand.
Is the export market going to stay where it is? We don't export a lot of milk products in the Southeast, but the dairy economy nationwide kind of feeds off of itself. So if those export markets go away, you've got excess supply of milk. That all kind of trickles back down and affects the demand, which will affect the price for milk. So export markets and what's going on with tariffs and trade policy is going to be a big thing that our farmers are going to watch.
They will also be keeping a close watch on the current avian influenza outbreak that has found its way into more than 900 dairy herds across 17 different states.
Our producers are keeping an eye on it. I wouldn't say that anyone is worried, but we're paying attention, and that's what we should be doing. We're in constant communication with the Department of Agriculture here in Georgia to come up with a plan if it does come to the Southeast, but our farmers are just keeping an eye on it, doing what they can on their farm to beef up biosecurity and prepare.
The health of the industry will also depend on a number of dairy operations bouncing back from the storms that swept across southeast Georgia late last year.
Not only did the storm come through during harvest season, but our harvest season is every day, 365 days a year. So a lot of the impacts we see aren't just the day of and the day after the storm, but those effects on the cows and their milk production, the stress from the storm. You can feel that for weeks afterwards, decreased milk production.
In spite of some of these issues and hardships within the industry, 2025 is shaping up to be a promising year for producers, thanks in large part to the rising number of consumers around the region.
We're seeing a trend here in the Southeast where a lot more people are drinking fluid milk, which is what we produce, especially whole milk. And so we're quietly optimistic for a good year for dairy farmers, and we're just happy to see that trend in fluid milk consumption and dairy consumption overall continue to tick up.
Reporting from Perry, I'm Damon Jones for the Farm Monitor.
All right, Damon, thanks so much. In the wake of the USDA's newly announced $1 billion plan to combat bird flu and soaring egg prices, key agricultural organizations are voicing their support, including the Georgia Department of Agriculture. Georgia Ag Commissioner Tyler Harper weighing in, saying, quote, "While Georgia remains a model for the nation on HPAI prevention, consumers in our state are feeling the impact of AI across the country, and Secretary Rollins' plan is a strong step in the right direction to lower egg prices for the American people." We here at the Farm Monitor also reached out to the American Egg Board and received a statement saying, in part, America's egg farmers welcome the immediate, decisive action outlined by USDA Secretary Brooke Rollins to address highly pathogenic avian influenza. We are eager to work with Secretary Rollins and the administration to implement this plan, bringing our expertise and resources to help drive this effort forward. For now, USDA's plan is focused on bolstering biosecurity measures, increasing egg production, and stabilizing prices amid ongoing outbreaks. We'll continue to follow the story as it develops. Facing adversity, it's never easy, but for livestock exhibitors at Southeast Whitfield High School, resilience became their foundation after a devastating barn fire.
Now, a year later, they're back in the ring, proving that dedication and determination can turn setbacks into comebacks. John Holcomb has their inspiring story.
Last winter, these livestock exhibitors' lives were drastically changed as their school's barn burned down, taking their animals and months of hard work, time, and energy along with it. It was a moment that can only be described as devastating. However, now just over a year later, they've rebounded, put in the work, and are competing at the show they missed last year.
It burnt down just exactly 2 weeks before Perry, so we had went in October and we had kind of got to see like that side of things, but it was very sad to get to see like your animal grow, and you had put so much time and effort into it, and you were working up to this point, and then for you not to be able to go through with it, and then you got to watch everybody still go and compete without you. It was definitely sad, and you kind of just felt like let down, like all you had done was kind of to waste. But definitely this year has been nice to get back in the swing of things, and I've been able to learn from it that you can still move on, you can still work better this next year, and it's going to be okay.
This year, their show team is significantly smaller, as only a handful were able to house their animals at their homes, which of course, as Bearden says, presented new challenges.
It definitely has impacted us since it's burnt down, because you're not able to have as big of a show team. It's nice whenever you have like the convenience of sharing like the stands and the blowers at the school, but once it burnt and it's at your house, you don't have all those things at your access, and you're not able to have as many members because a lot of the kids rely on the school to provide for the things that they need.
Though the incident was no doubt a tragedy, the team turned it into an opportunity, one that demonstrates passion, resilience, and determination, especially when you have a great support system.
It doesn't matter whether we have a barn at the school, it doesn't matter whether our group's small or big, we're still able to compete, we're still able to do good and be able to come to Perry. I still was able to work with my goat at my house. I was able to send pictures back and forth with my ag teachers, and they were still able to give me input, even though it wasn't like in like person. They were still able to say like, hey, you should brace it this way, you need to work with walking it, and here's just a few tips. So I was able to move past whether the barn was there or not.
Our kids are tough, and their parents are tough, and their families are tough, and they work hard. And so when that happened, it took some time to grieve and to look back and reflect. But these students that decided to take that adversity and learn from it. And so they decided, I'm not going to let something that frankly they can't control hold them down. So they decided, we're going to house our animals at home, we're still going to work hard, and we're going to do what we love to do, and that's show livestock. And essentially, I think that comes back full circle with exactly why we do this, exactly why our students show livestock. They show livestock to learn how to handle adversity, to work hard, and work with one another to get through issues that may occur.
Reporting in Perry for the Farm Monitor, I'm John Holcomb.
After the break, take a trip with us to Jackson County for a look inside one of Georgia's newest Centennial family farms. Once there, you're going to meet Jessie Bell, the proud operator who, alongside her grandfather, is ensuring this legacy lives on for generations to come.
Today, consumers want to know about where their food comes from more than ever before. Nearly 90% of Americans trust farmers and ranchers. That's one of the highest trust ratings of any profession in America, and it gives Farm Bureau members an amazing platform to tell their stories. The Farm Bureau Promotion and Engagement Program empowers farmers to share their story with consumers, bridging the gap between field and fork.
Consumers want to hear from farmers. We are the voice of agriculture, and for us to talk about our operations, to talk about farming, and to talk about agriculture as a whole is really what our consumers want. They want transparency, and they want us to share what we do every single day, and nobody knows it better than us.
I say I talk to people from 8 to 88, and anybody who wants to learn about what we're doing on the farm, I want to be that person to talk to.
Farm Bureau programs offer all Farm Bureau volunteers the chance to get involved at the local, state, and national levels. A variety of promotion and engagement activities occur each year, engaging members of all ages. At the American Farm Bureau Convention, the Promotion and Engagement Committee offers members an action-oriented consumer engagement program called CCI, Communicate, Collaborate, and Influence. Target Training is the program's premier national consumer engagement training that aims to inspire and equip farmers and ranchers to identify and highlight values they have in common with consumers to successfully share the story of agriculture with diverse audiences.
To me, it's extremely important for me to share my story, voice my opinion, and be able to make that connection with the consumers. It's really important for me to share our beautiful lifestyle with those who don't get the opportunity to experience at any other time.
Connecting consumers with where their food comes from and making sure that they understand what we do to make sure that they're getting safe and healthy food. The same food that I feed my children is the food that I grow and I put in the stores for them. And that's so important to help gain confidence in what we do.
People don't know what they don't know, and farm life is not familiar to most Americans today. As the nation's largest grassroots general farm organization, our members are the voice of agriculture. The Promotion and Engagement Program gives members all across the country the opportunity to work together to elevate the story of agriculture.
In Jefferson, Georgia, there is a quiet yet resilient symbol of agricultural legacy, J&J Farms. This year, that legacy was recognized when the farm earned the prestigious designation of one of Georgia's Centennial family farms, an honor bestowed upon farms that have remained in the same family for over 100 years. For Jessie Bell, the sixth generation of her family to live and work on the farm, the weight of that recognition is profound.
It means a lot. It's a lot of recognition for all the work that we've put in over the years. I think it's great.
The story of J&J Farms stretches back to the early 1800s, when Jessie's great-great-great-grandmother's family first cultivated the land. Through generations, the farm evolved from a multifaceted operation that once included dairy, cattle, and cotton, to its current focus on hay production, cattle, and horse boarding. Jessie takes pride in the farm's history, often recalling the story of the wooden barn built in 1905 by her ancestor, William Alonzo Blackstock. That barn, which was originally constructed to house mules, still stands as a testament to the enduring spirit of the farm. What do you think has been the key, to your family's farm staying successful for so long?
Hard work, and just the love for the land. I mean, it's when you grow up on a place like that, it's just sentimental, the sentimental value to it. You can't compare that to anything. Makes you want to be there, makes you want to make it better for the next generation.
But J&J Farms is more than just a farm. It is a living, breathing memory full of rich stories, antique tractors, and farm tools. The farm, though, is not without its challenges. Jessie and her grandfather Joel managed the day-to-day operations, just the two of them, with the occasional help from her siblings and neighbors. Their work is never-ending, especially in the summer months, when days stretch into the night, with hay to be cut and cattle to be tended. The land demands constant care, but for Jessie, there is no other place she'd rather be.
I don't mind it. I've always wanted to do the farm ever since I was little. I was always wanting to be outside with Papa, so makes me happy to get to be out here every day and work.
Working alongside her grandfather has been a gift that Jessie treasures deeply. As she speaks about him, her voice falters and the emotion is clear in her eyes. Their bond, formed through years of shared labor, laughter, and love, is the heartbeat of the farm. It is this connection to both her family and the land that drives Jessie's dedication to keeping J&J Farms thriving for future generations.
I enjoy getting to work with him. It makes my day. My horse is named after him. Everything I know about farming I learned from him. He showed cows, so he got me into showing cows, showed cows. He helped me do all that. I wouldn't be able to do anything without him. Most of the time, it's a good time. I enjoy it a lot. There's not many people that get to spend that much time with their grandparents, so it's really special.
As for the future, Jessie knows that nothing in agriculture stays the same. But one thing remains constant: her dedication to the land that has been in her family for over a century. And though Jessie may not be on the farm for another 100 years, she hopes that the legacy of J&J Farms will continue long after she is gone. A legacy rooted in hard work, love for the land, and the unbreakable bond of family. And what a beautiful legacy it is. Jessie and Joel keeping the rich history of J&J Farms alive while continuing a family tradition that has thrived for generations. Kudos to them. Well, one thing about the Farm Monitor and its staff, we are dedicated to helping you keep up to date with any of the stories you may have missed on today's show or others in the past. That's why way back when we created the Farm Monitor YouTube page. From inspiring farmer profiles to deep agricultural insights, there's something for everyone, and the archive goes as far back as 2009.
And while you're online, give us a click and a like on the Farm Monitor Facebook page. We love staying connected with our viewers, so if you have a unique story, idea, or just want to drop us a comment or suggestion, shoot us a message either on Facebook or email us at news@farm-monitor.com. Still to come, one could say it was a sticky situation at the state capitol involving lawmakers and the Georgia Peanut Commission. Plus, we're getting you ready for warmer temperatures with a trip to this popular Elbert County winery. The inspiring story behind it, next.
All right, picture this: a room full of lawmakers, lobbyists, and ag leaders all coming together for one very important cause. Yep, Peanut Butter and Jelly Day at the state capitol. Hosted by the Georgia Peanut Commission, this annual event isn't just about enjoying a classic PB&J sandwich, though let's be honest, that's a big perk. It's a fun way to highlight Georgia's peanut industry. Whether you like your spread crunchy or smooth, one thing's for sure: those grilled little delicacies are always a hit under the gold dome.
I think most people don't know they can make it at home like that. They're just used to mixing peanut butter and jelly and putting it on a sandwich, and they don't know they can grill it a little bit and just make it wonderful.
They're really good peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, you know what I mean? That's it. The only thing we got to do, we're going to have to add some bananas so we can have an Elvis special, you know?
Finally this week, with spring just around the corner, no time like the present to start thinking about weekend getaways and outdoor escapes. So if you're looking for a scenic destination with a little something to sip on, why not a Georgia vineyard? One possible destination, Blue Cielo Farms in Elberton. Damon Jones has more on the family behind this labor of love and how a simple discovery led to a dream fulfilled.
Once the 6th largest wine-producing state in the country, Georgia has really seen an industry resurgence over the past decade, with new wineries opening up every year. And one of the newer ones is Blue Cielo Farms in Elberton. It's a business idea that came about while tending to some land on a completely different property.
One day we were spraying the tree farm in Commerce, and we came across some grapes. And it was a really hot summer day, and I was getting really tired of spraying, you know, these weeds and whatnot on the tree farm. And so when we came across these grapes, I said, wow, why are we getting rid of these grapes? Let's just grow them.
And that was the beginning of the Wiseman's journey into grapes, which eventually led to the purchase of this property 10 years later. And while there was some initial hesitation to expand their business, it was an opportunity they just couldn't pass up after speaking with owner Helen Lyman, who was looking to continue her late husband's dream of opening up a winery in Elbert County.
We just really bonded with her and just had a sort of kinship, and it sounds a little bit trite, but I just felt that there was a connection and that maybe this is what we were really supposed to do, was to take over this property, as she was fearlessly searching for someone to take it over and continue her husband Dale Lehman's dream, rather than turning it into pasture and just building houses.
And in February of 2023, that dream officially became a reality, as this 33-acre farm, which grows 11 different varieties of grapes, was open to the public. It's a labor of love that doesn't come without plenty of hard work and patience.
Really, the weekends I'm spending in the vineyard on Saturdays and Sundays, really tending to the vines. It's a lot of fun, but it is a lot of work, and it's very, very, very gratifying, going from pruning right through to harvest. They come with challenges. Muscadine grows easiest, I would say, here in Georgia. On the hybrid side, the viticulturalists and the specialists have done an amazing job coming up with varietals, hybrid vinifera that grows well here in Georgia. We have a lot of red clay here on this property. It holds the moisture. The pH levels are pretty decent, but with the right vineyard management program, you can grow grapes very successfully that produce wonderful wines here in Georgia.
Those wines are on full display here at Blue Cielo Farms, along with a relaxed atmosphere and plenty of views. It's a little slice of heaven that inspired the name, which is an homage to Cassandra's previous job as a Spanish teacher.
And so I wanted to bring that with me into my new career. And so that's where I came up with the name Cielo, and Cielo means sky or heaven, and so that's why we call it Blue Cielo. And we believe that Cielo means tranquility and optimism and serenity, and so that's what we try to carry in our brand and at our winery.
Reporting from Elberton, I'm Damon Jones for the Farm Monitor.
By the way, opening day for Blue Cielo Farms slated for March 29th.
Yes, they are presently closed for business, and so are we. Thanks for watching. Stay safe, and we'll see you next week.
Bye now.